So this is the handover for the Globestar 600L. This model's left-hand drive, so we have a lot of features on the driver's side, including the filler cap. Open, ignition key in, and twist. You also have the bonnet release on this end of the dashboard. Below the floor is located your access for your engine battery, and then you have access to electrics underneath this passenger seat. The toolkit is carried separately. The bonnet release, the yellow tab in the centre. Over on the left hand side you have your screen washer fluid, and then beneath these service catches you have access for your power steering and brake fluid. Oil filler and oil dipstick. And then over on this side you've got your access for jump starting the vehicle. Because of the position of the engine battery, use the end of the ignition key to expose a little paddle. Positive goes onto there and the negative goes onto this centrally mounted bolt just there. At the rear of the vehicle you've got access to your freshwater filler cap. So smaller key in, hose pipe in until it's filled. There is an internal drain valve for draining it off. For the access to the freshwater tank, you can lift out the slat sections. There's a red cap for accessing the tank itself, so if you want to add solvents or solutions for cleaning. For drainage, on top of the lid there's an illustration that shows you which way it goes, but there is a black tap located just here. 2 full turns will completely empty the tank. A 3/4 turn will allow you to leave you with a transit volume of 20 litres. So in the garage space, you've got the black box at the back, which contains your vehicle toolkit. There's a mains lead, freshwater hose. You've got the part of the bed frame for the third bed option, which we'll cover with you later on, and then some various bits of fluids that the seller has left for you to make use of. Gas lockers over on the left-hand side. 2 bottles in here. You use 1 bottle at a time. Turn on and off via the cylinder at the top. It feeds into a regulator and then onto the cylinder. Exchange over onto the spare cylinder by using a spanner. It's a left-hand thread, so you do up to undo, and it enables you then to change the cylinder over. In the garage space, you also have the access for the thermostatic drain valve for the water heater. So the blue tap is on top. That's in line with the white pipes for the actual main water feed. In the event of the air temperature in this space going below 2 degrees centigrade, the blue tap automatically opens, and it allows the content of the water heater to discharge out onto the floor. You should do this manually for winter storage. To reset it, you need to turn the blue tap back through the 90 degrees, and there's a small blue button at the base of the unit which needs to be pushed back in. You may have to run the heating system if the air temperature in the van is still below 8 degrees, as it won't thermostatically reset. Toilet cassettes located just here, has a magnetic latch on the door. Pull up on the yellow tab and it should enable you to slide the whole body of the cassette out. You should make sure, however, that the interior is shut before you draw the cassette out. On a campsite you have collection points for these to go into, so the yellow cap comes off the top completely. Press the yellow valve at the top, and that allows then the content of the tank to empty out. For the Highlands, we recommend that you use a green chemical, so up to a capful of your green chemical mixed with about 1 litre or 2 of fresh water. Alternatively, there are sachets that are available instead. Little swirl round before you load it back in, nice and firmly back into there. There is no back. The wastewater is exited via this lever. So in your toolkit, you'll have a lever which goes onto here. It enables you to rotate this section through about 90 degrees, and it opens a discharge point in the centre of the vehicle for the grey water. That's the water from the shower tray, the vanity unit, and the kitchen sink to empty out. Above that, you have the ventilation for the exhaust for the room heating and water heating system. So you'd like to see a condensation plume when it's being operated on gas. And then behind that, you've got your mains hookup. It's important to connect to the side of the van first of all, and then connect to the power supply that you're going to be using. So at the rear of the vehicle, you have a 2-lay bike rack. pull down on the main deck. Some people like to use additional webbings to secure them. You can secure the bike via 3 anchor points. So you have the top jaws, these can be unlocked and connected onto the support frame of the bike. And then these are adjustable so that you can then slide that through the wheel hub to secure at the front and rear of the bike. To operate the two-lay omnistool awning, you need to put the T up into the slot and roll the awning arm out. Roll it out to a midpoint where you can comfortably reach the legs. These are spring-loaded and retained within the body of the van, so push in, let the leg slide through, and then lock the leg off by pushing firmly back on the tab. Repeat the process for the opposite leg. Once the awning has been wound out fully, this has additional support arms which can be clipped back onto the body into these 2 sections to give you additional rigidity to the main frame. To wind it back in, make sure that they're pushed away firmly. Drop the legs back down. And spring load the feet back into position. Like so. And then wind the awning back in. These are sunshades. In wet or windy conditions, they should be put away. If the awning gets wet at all at the earliest opportunity, dry it out, otherwise they can begin to smell. When you open the sliding door, you have an electric step switch, which you can control from there. When you first enter the van, up above the sliding door, you have your 12-volt control panel. Currently, we're plugged in onto the main, so it's acknowledged by that amber light. Because we've got the 12-volt turned on, you'll see a green light just there. These first rocker switches give you indication as to the health of the engine battery, indicated by the battery at the front of this vehicle, and the leisure battery, indicated by the battery symbol towards the back. You've got a freshwater level indicator, so the tank at the moment is about 75% full, and a grey water indicator for the tank that's underslung. With regard to the heating system, you will have had to have reset and made sure that the drain valve, the thermostatic drain valve, is secure. Having done that, with the water pump switched on via the 12-volt switch, you draw water through from the fresh water tank through the hot water heater. If the tank had been emptied, you might see spitting or spurging occurring, something like that, as the system becomes to prime. Having completed that part of the process, you would repeat with the vanity unit as well to make sure that you had continuity of water supply. The heating on this is done via gas and a 12-volt igniter and circulation fan. For the water heating specifically, you turn the outer part of the dial anti-clockwise towards a 40 or a 60 degree mark, which will allow the water to heat up to those temperatures, taking around about 20 to 45 minutes depending on setting and the start temperature. You'll get a green light come on indicating that the system is in process. Whilst the water is heating up, you'll get an amber light come on the adjacent side. If it fails to find the gas, or if the gas has been switched off, you may well see a red light come on indicating that that has failed. For just room heating, you can turn it towards the flame symbol at this 4 o'clock position. You'll just likely see a green light come on. The central dial is your thermostat for the room heating output, so the higher the number, the greater the intensity of heat. If there's water within the system, it will get the water hot but not to any specific temperature, so they give you a fifth option of setting it to the 60 and the flame symbol, which will give you water to the 60 degree mark as well as your room heating. Again, that amber light, possibly the red light, will also repeat to indicate water temperature and to indicate failure. For the operation of the gas, it's quite straightforward. Turn the gas on via small black tabs, use a gas match, onto each of the individual burners. These glass lids don't isolate the supply, so consequently if you bring this down over the flame, it will heat the glass and cause it to explode. So make sure that the unit is cooled fully before you put it into travel mode for travelling. At the foot of the bed, you have also got 2 isolator taps for the gas supply within the van. So one dedicated to the hob, another one dedicated to the gas supply to the water heater. They're in their on position at the moment. You can individually isolate them if required. The fridge is 12 volt. Open the door, and on the right hand side towards the back of the fridge you'll see this little knob, and that is used for turning on the 12 volt supply to the fridge and also adjusting the temperature. So the toilet cassette in this is a swivel bowl. It'll need to be back against the wall if you want to use the shower cubicle. Otherwise, move it into the desired position. On the back side of the toilet bowl, you have a lever which you'll need to pull forward to open up the wastegate. To open up the wastegate to the main bowl itself. To flush the toilet, use the blue button on the back. The flush water comes directly from your onboard fresh water tank and goes around the inside of the bowl accordingly. Close the lever over afterwards to remove the cassette, but also to stop any smells or odours from coming up from the bowl. Tip up sink is released using the black nodule at the end of the countertop. This is also your shower as well by pulling through. So to utilise the shower, you can use the trigger motion as well and draw the shower head through the gap in the door. For the third bed option to be set up, you will need to disconnect the table and remove the lower part of the leg and attach it onto the back wall there. Once you've done that, you can then swivel out the base section, which also acts as the table extension as well. In the garage, there is 2 pieces of board which form an L shape. The top section sits onto the top of this. The lower section forms a 90-degree board which goes down into the door space, and then the mattress is then spread out across the top to give you your transverse third bed. Roof lights on this van. The front roof light has a winding handle. As you turn it, it extends up accordingly to adjust. These roof lights should always be wound down when the vehicle is in motion. When you wind it back down, you'll notice a little red tab appear in the vertical slot, indicating that the roof light is secure. These roof lights are also fitted with fly screens and blinds for day and nighttime use. The roof light above the bed has a push-in tab. Bring the handle forward to set it into different settings. To secure it, push it back up firmly beyond the tab. Nighttime blind and fly screen available as well. So when you come to start up the vehicle, if you haven't retracted the step, you will hear a buzzer in the cab. Your central controls are for your heated mirrors, for the central locking of the vehicle, hill descent and traction control. There are 12 volt and cigar lighter sockets for charging of devices. Cab controls themselves and steering wheel controls, you've got your lights on the top stalk with a main beam. Below that you've got your cruise control and cruise limiter, which can be operated by turning the outer part of the dial either clockwise or anti-clockwise. And then your wiper controls are down, as well as a wash motion by pulling back onto the main stalk. You've got headlamp beam adjustment onto here to adjust for the compensate for the weight of the vehicle in the back, as well as a rear fog lamp setting there. Your electric windows are controlled from this point, and you have a toggle for the adjustment of the electric mirrors. All 4 mirrors, including the blinds box, can be adjusted at this point. Door blinds are controlled by pinching the tabs together and a magnetic strip attaching to the front of each of the cab, and then there's a magnetic strip on the center section and a pushback to allow it to go around the reversing mirror and conjoin to the other mirror on the other side. When you first turn on the radio system, you'll likely see this menu option. If not, press your home button and you can choose navigation, radio and AV audio modes, which are used via the extension leads and ports of the base, as well as giving you your Bluetooth phone option as well. So that concludes the handover for the 600 Road L. Sincerely hope this van's going to give you lots of miles and lots of smiles. On behalf of Highlander Camper Vans, thank you for watching.